Welcome back to Memorial Stadium. You just saw a tremendous 5A state championship game, one that they will be talking about for a very, very long time. Just an amazing contest back and forth, but in the end, it was Nazareth coming away with a 1-point win, 45-44 over the Lions of Peoria. Well, coming up here in just a couple of moments, we will have the 6A title game, and the two guys who will be calling that ball game are Matt Rodewald and Jack McInerney. And Matt, I don't know if we can top this 5A game, but perhaps East St. Louis and Prairie Ridge will put on a similar show for us.
Well, when you're thinking about similar shows, you look back to last year's 6A game, and a lot of the similarities we've been talking about it all week. East St. Louis, same opponent, and we're talking about the same conference, the Fox Valley Conference, the same kind of offense that Prairie Ridge and Cary Grove ran from a year ago. How about the same district? District 155 schools, there's a lot of similarities. They just changed out one part.
Well, the similarities are so much interesting, but the only difference is same offense for Prairie Ridge as Cary Grove, except Cary Grove used the fullback to be dominant. Today, you're going to see the quarterback try and be dominant against East St. Louis. And my question will be, what did East St. Louis learn last year against that kind of an offense? It's going to be very, very interesting. We could have a real exciting ball game today.
We expect to see that here, especially in the first 5 minutes. Tyler Vasey, we're going to talk about him in a minute, but the offense for the Flyers has been flying around like usual. Ryan Martin has had a spectacular semifinal game, and he's had a great year all year for the Flyers.
And he's a young player, but he's got all the tools to be a great player. Last year he had over 1,000 yards. He has over 1,000 yards this year. He's the go-to guy, obviously, coming out of the backfield. They'll throw the ball to keep you off balance, but they like to run the ball, and he's the guy that's going to run it.
Eastside brought a lot of fans, as we always expect each and every year, and they're going to get a chance to see Tyler Vasey do a lot of special things out there for Prairie Ridge. What makes Vasey so special? What are we going to see today?
Well, he's quick. He's smart. He's got great feet, and ironically, he wasn't a quarterback last year, but yet this year he's broke all the records for rushing in the state of Illinois. Not just for his high school, for the state of Illinois. He's just an exceptional athlete, and he's going to be a showcase today.
We're going to put a lot of points on the board, Mark, so strap on your seatbelt. We expect to see a lot of back-and-forth action here, East St. Louis and Prairie Ridge in our 6A game coming up.
All right, thank you very much, Matt Rodewald and Jack McInerney. Looking forward to your call of the 6A championship game. Just moments away, East St. Louis and the Wolves from Prairie Ridge. We need to take a timeout. Back with more from Memorial Stadium right here on the IHSA Television Network.
You witness threats every day.
You're not going to walk away next time.
And you might feel like there's nothing you can do.
There's going to be a big fight at the school.
No, really?
But now, there's a place.
Look at what they posted about her.
Safe to Help Illinois.
Hey, I'm worried about Bobby. He might hurt himself.
It's available 24/7, and your info is confidential. Seek help before harm with Safe to Help Illinois.
Want a great career? Join the Carpenters Union and be part of the next generation building our communities. With the Carpenters Union Career Connections program, high school students get a head start on the industry's leading curriculum. Learn the latest in construction technology and the many skilled crafts the Carpenters Union represents. Plus, earn as you learn. Receive a nice paycheck, health insurance benefits, and best of all, no college debt. Ask your school district to participate in the Career Connections program and get started on your future.
Black Friday is here at Menards, and we've got the perfect present for your loved ones. With something for Dad, Mom, and the kids. Everyone in the family will get what they want, even your furry friends. Enjoy the season and the savings. Deck out the tree and stuff your stockings with these great gifts at amazing prices. Hurry in and save big money. These deals won't last long. Doors open at 6 a.m. on Black Friday.
Save big money at Menards.
How do you predict the future? You create it. You build a foundation, pave a path forward, soak up the journey, and turn experiences into something life-changing. At Illinois State University, we deliver on what every college should promise you: the opportunity and tools to write your legacy every day. The rest is up to you. What will you create? Create your legacy at Illinois State University.
It is a star-powered 6A state championship matchup coming up next. The consensus favorite for Player of the Year, Tyler Vasey, takes his Wolves in for another championship battle as East St. Louis flies north to take on the FVC champions, and a real good one we expect to have here in Champaign, here at Memorial Stadium. Thank you for joining us for our Class 6A state championship broadcast alongside longtime Illinois high school football coach Jack McInerney. I'm Matt Rodewald. When you look at these two teams, obviously they've been kind of on this path to meet each other. We finally get to see it today.
Well, you know, the thing is, like with East St. Louis, they've got to go out of the state to find competition, which they did in their first 3 ball games, because they don't get a lot of competition during their regular season, except when they get to the playoffs, and sometimes not until they get to the state championship game.
And with the Fox Valley Conference, they're in a locked, closed schedule, so they don't go outside of non-conference until they get to the postseason. Let's go through Prairie Ridge and show you that schedule to see what they had to go through to get to this point. Look at those scores. Yes, they feel like basketball scores, but it's all Tyler Vasey and this misdirection offense. It's hard to find the ball, and a lot of teams have had a hard time doing it. In fact, Crystal Lake South has had the best time doing it, and still they gave up 63 points in that opening round loss.
It's really hard to replicate what a team does like that at practice as far as your scout teams. That's what's so difficult about it. And teams don't run across these kind of offenses that often. That makes it even more difficult.
As for East St. Louis, we can talk about the offense all we want, but it's this defense that has been spectacular. Look at all the zeros on the board. And Lamont is a very good football team that gave everything they could to the Flyers last week.
Well, Lamont was undefeated going into that ball game and had some tough wins against some really tough teams. But what happens is East St. Louis has great speed, not only offensively, but defensively. They get to the football very fast, and they get great pursuit to the ball, which is a key factor with defense.
The teams are taking the field. We are ready to go for our Class 6A state championship matchup. Tyler Vasey and the Wolves are ready to battle the Flyers of East St. Louis. It's going to be a good one. Our Class 6A championship match next from Champaign.
The IHSA Football State Championships are being brought to you in part by Country Financial, proud partner of the IHSA, and by LiUNA. Start your career in construction at liunacareers.org.
I couldn't ask for a better agent, for a better company in a disaster where you have no idea where to start.
I learned that there's not a given in life. It takes a team. There's people that are going to watch out for us and they care.
It's been pretty stressful. Once we saw Lori and got our plan, it's
like a huge weight lifted.
Would you look at that? I'm in the classroom again. But this time, I can apply these skills to make some money. Lots of money.
Family dinner with kids, not easy. You know what is easy? OSF On-Call Urgent Care. Get treatment for minor illnesses and injuries in person or connect 24/7 online. OSF On-Call Urgent Care.
Our official, our head referee you saw there is Tom Hugg, a Joliet area crew, a 34-year official in the IHSA. And so 1st and 5 to start. Vasey keeps it. And a pickup of 7. Chunks of yards. We're going to see 5, 7, maybe 9 at times, even more.
Well, it's going to be really interesting for me because last year I had the opportunity to do the Cary Grove East St. Louis game, which some people say was one of the best high school championship games ever played. And this is kind of a similar look because it's one team from the same conference and the same offense against East St. Louis.
Man in motion. Vasey follows him through. And even those little plays like that you're seeing right here, about 2 or 3 at the time. Let's go through the starting lineups presented by OSF. For Prairie Ridge, the men up front, Henrik Nystrom, the senior under center, and John Fallaw, who Coach Shrimp said it's just hard to keep him off the field. Pretty sure he's up at 5 o'clock this morning getting a lift in before heading to Memorial Stadium. Tyler Vasey, we could talk about him all day, but Nathan Greetham is a key to watch, a 1,300-yard rusher as well. You'll see a lot of number 4 when you don't see a lot of 7. Vasey gives to the up back, and a big pickup of about 6 or 7, maybe 10 yards and a first down, and that's Greetham. You'll see him right there. East St. Louis starters on defense. Keyshawn Hayden, the senior, up front, 6'3", 230 pounds, heading to Central Michigan with 90 tackles and 10 sacks on the season. You'll see number 44 up front. And we'll show you his lineups in a second.
Just an interesting look here for Prairie Ridge folks at home. There's a quarterback right there that averages 290 yards running the football. Not passing, running. He only averages 23 yards a game throwing the ball because they only throw it twice a game.
And it's Greetham ahead with this misdirection. How important is it just to find the football on defense?
Well, it's really tough. And you know, it's, as we mentioned, it's tough to replicate in practice for East St. Louis this kind of an offense because you just can't do it in less than a week's time. And you don't run against an offense like this that often in the regular season. And you certainly never come up against a quarterback as talented as Vasey is in running this particular offense.
Flyers like to go 3 down linemen, but there are 5, maybe 6 on the line of scrimmage right now. Vasey's going to keep it, gets a block, tries to get to the outside, but this Flyer defense is flying to the football, and they get back to the line of scrimmage. That's the one factor, is that Prairie Ridge has not seen any speed like this all year.
The Flyers do fly, as I've mentioned a few times.
They're going to have to. It's so easy to do.
And one of the things you got to remember from a coaching standpoint is when you're playing against a team that's got great speed like the Flyers do, to negate that, you run at speed. You don't run away from it because they'll run you down. You run at it.
The Wolves have completed 14 passes all season long. This would be a traditional passing down on 3rd and 9. Vasey will keep it. Sneaks about 3 or 4 yards. Stopped by Keandre McClendon. That's a 6'1" freshman out there playing D-line for this East St. Louis squad. You get a look at Chris Schremp. His 21st season, 178 wins. Of course, his 5th state finals appearance. Runners up to this East St. Louis squad in 2019.
We're going to get a timeout here.
And we will have that timeout right now. Something didn't look right. So we'll take a break as well. We're just getting started here in Champaign, East St. Louis and Prairie Ridge. A couple minutes gone by here at Memorial Stadium, scoreless.
Black Friday is here at Menards, and we've got the perfect present for your loved ones. With something for Dad, Mom, and the kids. Everyone in the family will get what they want, even your furry friends. Enjoy the season and the savings. Deck out the tree and stuff your stockings with these great gifts at amazing prices. Hurry in and save big money. These deals won't last long. Doors open at 6 a.m. on Black Friday.
Save big money at Menards.
There are more than 20,000 ways to experience Illinois State.
Hey, what's up? You ready to go to class?
What kind of Redbird will you be? Hi. Create your legacy at Illinois State University.
The IHSA Football State Championships are being brought to you in part by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs. And by ISU. Create your legacy at Illinois State University.
Coming out of the timeout, this will be a 4th down for Prairie Ridge on the opening possession of this one. Matt Rodewald, Jack McInerney with you at Memorial Stadium here in Champaign. And we'll see how they line up and how they attack this Flyers defense on a big 4th down. They need to get to the 31. Vasey will throw.
Oh, he's wide open.
Over the middle, caught. That's Luke Vanderweil inside the 15 and driven down at the 13. Just the 15th pass completed all year from Prairie Ridge.
Well, you have those defensive backs so focused on Vasey at quarterback that they're looking in the backfield right now. You can see them looking in the backfield, and they're not keeping up with the receivers. And also, he was wide open. The linebacker didn't get to him because he was too concerned about stopping Vasey on any kind of a run.
A 24-yard pickup, nearly a season long in terms of yardage. And a new set of downs.
All they got to do is throw it one more time, and they'll have caught up to their record for 2 passes in a game.
Jack Finn in motion. It's Vasey keeping it, but nowhere to go. Penetration up front, and we know that front 4, front 3 is big enough and quick enough to get through there.
Well, as you mentioned, that front 3, Franklin and McClendon and Hayden, they average 230 pounds. So that's a big defensive front there, those front 3. But the offensive line for Prairie Ridge averages 221. They're pretty quick. But everything's restricted in there. If you look down there, everything's right inside where the tackles are.
Same setup, one receiver split out to the left. Vasey will keep it, gets a block and room to run. Vasey to the corner. He will walk into the end zone for the touchdown. 14 yards for Tyler Vasey. His 53rd touchdown of the year.
Say that again.
53rd touchdown of the year.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible to think in a year a young man can do that. Watch the block at the top of the screen here. You got your guard and tackle pulling. It's a little counter, and he just turns up inside. Just a great block right there by John Fallon, number 67, 6'3", 225 pounds, getting out in front of him. And that play is just like as if he was coming out of the I formation. That's how it was originally designed. Now they run it out of the spread.
The extra point. Brogan Amhert, who had the game-winning field goal last week. His first field goal of the season. This time he gets out for an extra point, all because of his best friend Tyler Vasey. Cutting inside a block, walking in on a 9-play drive for a touchdown to start things off for Prairie Ridge. Let's watch the touchdown again from Prairie Ridge. We love blocking, Coach. Let's see the kickout block.
Well, there's 67, John Fallon, number 62, Ethan Goodshell, and that's exactly why right there Vasey has 53 touchdowns. It's because of his leg, yes, but it's also because of the size and the ability of those linemen to get out in front of him, and that was just a great job by Fallon and Goodshall on the offensive line. Good shot right there at John Fallon.
Amherst, the kickoff. It's a short one. Picked up a rather fair catch at the 27-yard line. Tyler Vasey. Which record would you like to go with? Let's start with the single-season rushing record. The state record at 3,776 yards coming in. So you can add probably over 3,800 on that drive total now. But his numbers, I mean, how many different ways do you want to break it down? He had a wonderful season going into the playoffs, and then he hit a new level of yardage where he was talking about 171 yards against St. Ignatius being kind of that's not good enough. He was doing 500 a pop in some playoff games.
He averages 316 yards a game himself of total offense.
To Ryan Martin, the first carry for East St. Louis, and the penetration on first down from this Wolves defense. To Ryan Martin, the 5'10 junior with some MAC offers. No gain on that one. Robert Battle is your quarterback starting a year ago. He's the signal caller again for East St. Louis, and they'll spread it out. They want to go side to side if they can, use that speed on the edge.
They've got great athletes, and they have great balance offensively. And, of course, when you have Martin at tailback, he can bust one at any particular time. But Robert Battle, the quarterback, is the catalyst.
Battle to throw, caught, and outside the 40-yard line. And the pickup there by Caden Rogers, his first catch of the day. Check it, it's Jesse Watson, who's got all sorts of D1 offers.
This is just a good slant route at the top of your screen, the bottom of your screen right here. Gets up inside the cornerback, but he's right in that dead spot between the linebacker and the quarterback. Good delivery of the football by Battle. This is what you're going to see with East St. Louis. You're going to see great balance. Completely different than what you see from Prairie Ridge. Completely different philosophy, completely different offense.
Trips right to the short side. Watson, a team high in receptions on the year. Here's Battle on the run. He'll turn the corner. He won't stay in bounds, but he will get the first down and a whole lot more as Logan Harlow shoves him out. Let's go through the East St. Louis starting lineup, and we talk about a meat wall from game one. How about a D1 wall in game two? Paris Patterson heading to Arkansas. Brandon Henderson coming here after flipping his commitment. He's had a fun week this week. And also Miles McVeigh, number 58 you see on there, heading to Alabama next year. The skill players have D1 offers all over the place, including Jesse Watson, who's getting Big 12 offers each and every day. To Ryan Martin, kicks out to the right side, gets to the first down, gets out of the tackle for a minute, and they're going to mark him a yard short, actually, of the first down. Speed, skill, talent all over the field for East St. Louis.
It really is, and that was just a perfect job right there of Martin. Gives you an idea, an indication. Looks like he hurt his shoulder. You can see he's got some bandages under that shoulder. And that could be in the way it's taped up, it looks like it's a situation where it could be a shoulder that's given him a lot of issues. But here's kind of an idea of how he runs. He's got great feet and great effort. He's only 190 pounds, but he runs with a lot of power.
Here's Martin again, getting around to the left side. Won't be able to. Oh, he does cut in and breaks out of a tackle. Tries to get to the corner, and he will for the touchdown to Ryan Martin. Escaped a couple of tackles. 34 yards. He scampers to pay dirt, and East St. Louis a chance to tie it up or take the lead.
Well, when you have an athlete of that caliber running behind an offensive line, as you described earlier, you can see how everybody's blocking everybody off. But look at the moves and the quickness. A good spin move right there, and just good speed down the field. And, of course, he's a veteran for East St. Louis from last year's championship game. He's only a junior, but he started half the season as a freshman.
Puts him over 1,400 yards rushing on the season. This is Rico Bond, who's going to try the extra point straight on.
You'll never see these
They'll fake
again.
it. And pressure coming. Throwing towards the end zone. Caught. Converted. And guess who? And the two-point conversion for Antoine Hayden, the defensive star, coming over the offensive side to make the conversion.
It makes you almost think, was that going to be a fake initially? Because the last time I saw a kicker like that was George Blanda.
It
was a high snap.
They
and that
had no
caused
choice.
it. But see, this is something that's practiced also by good football programs. The scramble drill. When something like that happens, you can't just say, okay, what are you going to do? Once in a while on a Thursday before a Friday game, you'll just run that a couple of times. Okay, it's a bad snap. Where are you going? And that's exactly how they react. Good, strong football teams react to those kind of situations.
And if you're a wingback on that extra point try, you understand your responsibilities to get out in the flat, and if you're on the end, you're the tight end to get some sort of out route going just to give some options. So that was well executed by St. Louis. Bond will kick, taken by Vasey. Vasey in the middle of the field, and he will be knocked down at the 25. So he's on kick team. He's on offense. He'll have all-purpose yards. And Vasey responsible for 50 yards on the opening drive. He'll have more here coming up. The second possession of the afternoon for Prairie Ridge. And to Ryan Martin, his 22nd touchdown of the season. Of course, he's had a great season, but he's dwarfed by the numbers of Vasey on the other side.
Exactly. There's no doubt about that.
Vasey under center. He'll keep it. Left side. Gets to the outside. Can he turn the corner? And he will get a first down at the very least. That's the kind of run that we've seen in the postseason from him. That would have been a touchdown because he was able to turn the corner, but with East St. Louis' speed, maybe not today.
And they have the angle. He had the angle, and he almost broke that one, but you're exactly right. I mean, this is the type of situation where you're going to see what kind of an athlete Vasey really is. But I also think the fullback's going to play a big role today.
Leonte Bradford, you see there, the junior. There's 107th tackle of his 2022 season. They go belly give, and maybe about 2 or 3 Greetham. So the lineup with Greetham behind him. It'll be Finn to the left and Vanderweil to the right. And that's a couple of running backs just weight-wise. It's important to note that 170, 175, and 210 in the middle. That's some pretty good size in terms of running backs running this misdirection offense.
Well, usually it's the fullback quarterback here. The wide receivers in this particular case end up being more blockers than receivers. Well, I shouldn't say receivers because they rarely throw the ball.
Vanderweil in motion. Vasey follows him, and it's maybe 3 more. You talk about first down being important. Both coaches talked about 3 yards. They've got to make sure one can get 3 yards, the other will limit the 3 yards. As we look at the starters for East St. Louis, Keyshawn Hayden, the Central Michigan commit, 90 tackles and 10 sacks on the season. Dominic Dixon has been outstanding with 11 sacks for the junior. He's going to be staring at a whole lot of offers to play at the next level. And then Jayon Jackson, when they do throw, don't throw to him. 4 interceptions, a team high for East St. Louis on the year. This is a big third down right here. Vasey, nowhere to go. Stuffed immediately. And it was Shamon Hamilton, the sophomore off the bench, rotating in and getting the stop. 4th down and 2.5. Starting lineups presented by OSF.
I'd be real surprised right here if he goes for it, and it looks like he is. But one of the things that you got to understand when you're looking at a team like Prairie Ridge, they're a running team. If they get behind, they really don't throw the ball effectively. So East St. Louis's game plan is get them down early so that we force them to throw the ball.
They converted through the air on 4th down last time. They'll try it again. This time it'll be Vasey. Misdirection keeps it. First down. And you really have to like the design of that play. Joe Terhar, the offensive coordinator, calling plays, making sure that his offensive line, that is on average 261, kind of shifting right, a little left, a little back and forth.
Now here's the touchdown run right there. You saw his guard and tackle getting out in front of him, and it got him in the end zone before, and on this play it got him a first down. Those linemen run extremely well, and they take advantage of that.
1st and 10 from the 47 of the Flyers. Vasey will throw. Steps right side, and it was knocked away. A flag came in.
Vasey's pass
he looked towards his right for a second, then threw to his left. Vanderweil got free for a second. Let's credit Michael Tillman on the breakup and figure out what the penalty is.
It didn't look like he was expecting the ball right away. Well, there's your chop block that we discussed earlier. when it's a quick pass, you want to get the hands down of the defensive lineman, and occasionally that's how you do it, because if you go for their knees or below their waist, they're going to bring their hands down to protect their knees and their hips. And this is exactly what this call is made to prevent, is injuries that those caused over the years.
So that's going to move it back by a lot. Watch it again.
Top of your screen. Let's see if he stays low on him. Yeah, right there, the fullback, you can see blocked, was kind of a chop block. He went below the waist and or knees of the blitzer.
Great coverage there by Tillman.
It's great camera coverage also.
We're going to have 1st and 25 now. Vasey steps up, pressure coming, nowhere to go. Nowhere to go, and Antoine Hayden, senior, will drop him for maybe a loss of a yard.
And Hayden is getting used to this turf. He's going to be back here next year with the University of Illinois. 6'3", 235-pound senior. And based on his career at East St. Louis, he's going to be spending a lot of time playing here for Illinois.
It's always fascinating to see the kids that complete their high school career where they're going to end up at college, whether it's here or in the other years at Northern Illinois. Vasey throws and broken up. Just a little bit too high for Vanderweil. 3rd down and 25. This has been a very difficult drive for the Prairie Ridge Wolves.
And you can see the pressure that's put on him right now. They're not allowing him to get outside at all, and you have to throw the ball off balance like that. It's a tough throw, especially when you got defenders right on top of your receivers.
We know Vasey can throw a little bit. Again, we've alluded to it. Baseball player, shortstop, that's the toughest throw to make in some sense. But he's had to deal with some arm and elbow injuries over the years. Vasey will go again. He'll throw left side, has a man, but it's someone turned the wrong way. And it certainly looked like it was Tomasewicz, who's got 8 catches on the year, but not that time. Brings up 4th down, and they'll punt.
Well, Prairie Ridge has already extended their passing from their regular season, where they averaged 2 passes a game. They've already thrown, I think, about 3 here in this ball game in this first quarter.
3 on this drive. Vasey is 1 of 4, or 1 of 5, I should say. And he was able to hook up on pass number 1, and that's been it. Low snap. And that's Miller on the punt. And it's going to roll at the 30. And Landon Miller's punt is going to start us off for East St. Louis at their own 27-yard line. How'd they get here? Well, East St. Louis came in last night. You got to have the routine. It's tough to come up in the morning for these 1 o'clock games on Saturday. So they drove up last night from the Metro East area. And for Prairie Ridge, they're out of Crystal Lake, the northwest part of Crystal Lake. So it's a little further to get down here from that area of McHenry County. But it has to be a joy, a 2-lane road of Route 47 the whole way down. In every town on the way. Darren Sunkett still doing it after all these years. Head coach for East St. Louis says coaching ball keeps him young. Just going to do it till it's not fun anymore. To Ryan Martin. Having a lot of fun getting to the outside, and that's going to be a big pickup of about 15 yards or so.
When you have athletes like this, it can make it fun.
Watch it again.
Again, those big linemen getting out in front. He just bounces it outside. The play was designed to go inside, following those big guys. He just bounced it outside. Picks up a 1st down.
Outside again, it's Martin with a blocker in front of him and gets back to the outside, dragging tacklers down to the 20 and finally pulled down from behind. He is a load. And 38 yards on that pickup.
He's hurt.
And that shoulder is bothering him. And let's watch it again.
He's really smooth. I mean, it's just not, he doesn't have tremendous speed going down there, but you can see right there, that's where the shoulder was re-injured
on it,
at least temporarily.
All of the kids came land on him.
I think Palmer, if I'm not mistaken, might be his backup, who's a very effective running back, unless it's Woods.
18 yards per carry on the ground so far. We'll see how that changes, if it changes at all. That's Christopher Bennett.
They've got so many running backs. They've got a stable of running backs.
Looks like Bennett will get a lot of the workload from now. And they go inside the 15. Again, Prairie Ridge had it to start things off. They're worried about chasing points, especially with their more one-dimensional offense. East St. Louis knows that, wants to get out ahead and try and force the issue. Here's Battle. He'll keep it and throw it. Plenty of time. Rolling to the right. Flag comes down. That is incomplete to Watson. A little strong for him coming in.
Holding.
And that's going to be holding. And when you have all that time, it is hard to hold your blocks.
Is that a play on words?
I went to school for that sort of thing.
Okay, he's scrambling right here. You can see right there. He is just hanging on for dear life.
I think it's Terrence Scarborough, I think.
Usually what offensive line coaches teach these kids, they're pretty coy about it. Keep your hands up inside. And sometimes if you do grab a little cloth, your hands are inside. Pull them to you like you're taking them to the prom. And then sometimes they can't see that when you're real tight.
Subtlety usually works. Here's Bennett trying to get to the outside. He'll pick 5 of it back. Show you defense for Prairie Ridge. Yart Clark, 6-foot senior, leading the way along with Gavin Tinch and Walter Pollock. Ryan Kelblinger for the linebacking crew. He wants to be the 3rd brother to win a state championship, part of those 2016-2017 teams. And also Landon Severson, the interception, 80 tackles, one of the leaders on this defense for Prairie Ridge.
We're going to let it run out.
And that's how our quarter will end.
Fast quarter.
Everyone's been on the board once. East St. Louis trying to drive for another score. The Flyers looking towards another state championship, leading by 1 after 1 quarter of play in Champaign. Heading into the second quarter here in Champaign of our Class 6A state championship game. Matt Rodewald, Jack McInerney with you here in the booth. And let's send it downstairs to the third member of our crew, Darius Joshua. Darius?
Yeah, Matt and Jack, the East St. Louis community has had a heavy heart for the last 3 years. In May of 2019, promising young football player Jalen McKenzie passed away. And speaking with his mother, Sakina Gunner, she tells me the team wears wristbands with his name on it and also the phrase "just finished," something that Jalen always did when he was on the football field. And while his youth team has retired his number, this year's team is using a player to wear it as well. Ryan Martin is the one wearing that number this year. Each year they've had an annual parade in his honor, and this coming Tuesday on his birthday, they'll be holding it again on November 29th, which would be his 18th birthday. He would have been a senior on this year's squad.
All right, Darius, thank you very much. And obviously when you lose a teammate, when you're a classmate and you get to this point, you imagine what it would have been like to have him here, and that's clearly on their minds. 3rd and 15 as we come out of the timeout. And at the 25-yard line, check at the 24 officially. They've got to get to the 10. Battle will throw. And he's got a running lane in the middle of the field. He'll get to the first down marker. And that quickness for Robert Battle will pick up the chains and move him. First down and goal coming up.
And we're calling him Robert, but his teammates call him Pops. Good job right here scrambling. Anytime you got a quarterback that can keep plays alive with his feet, you've got an advantage. And that's certainly what East St. Louis has. They've got a quarterback that can keep plays alive with their feet. And as I say that, Prairie Ridge has got a guy that can keep plays alive with his feet. But that's a good shot right there of Pops Battle.
And Pops doesn't look like a Pops at all. He is getting up and down the field just fine. 17 yards in that pickup. Spread set there. And it's Martin back in there towards the goal line. He'll score. To Ryan Martin, battling a shoulder injury and battling his way through. 8 yards for the touchdown. He is doing it with one arm. As you can look, he's running off the field with one arm down. And he's trying to hang in there. Some serious toughness from Martin. And another touchdown, 14-7.
Good job right here by that big number 70, Paris Patterson, 6'5", 300 pounds. And he's on his way to Arkansas. And here he's leading a 180-pound runner into the end zone. So we kind of give him 3 and give Martin 3.
Extra point on the way. Rico Bond's extra try is good. It is 15-7 for East St. Louis. To Ryan Martin, feeling pain in that left shoulder. 2 touchdowns so far on the afternoon. 23 on the year. Another one behind that big offensive line.
Well, there you can see that big tackle getting out in front of him. And good job by Martin following him into the end zone. But anytime you've got big players like that and they can run, you know, years ago you get a player like that and he could hardly walk, more or less run, and that's what kids are doing now. And he's 6'5". Now, what I think is interesting is last year Patterson weighed in. I kind of checked the rosters from last year because I kind of find some of these things interesting. Paris Patterson was 6'5", 340 pounds. So he dropped 40 pounds. He's down now to 300 pounds, and that's one of the reasons why he was able to pull and lead Martin up into the end zone. And all of these offensive linemen, based on last year's rosters and this year's rosters, have all lost some weight, which has really helped their ability to run.
Short kick picked up by Vanderwale. And Prairie Ridge will start there. That's called getting college ready.
Yeah, you're right.
That's exactly what that is.
And a lot of the colleges tell those kids, okay, you're going to, you know, we want you to drop this amount of weight during the summer, and this is what we're going to play you at, or we would like you to play at.
I imagine Nick Saban had a very direct conversation with Miles McVay about a similar situation. Here's what we want you to do. Can you get this done? I think the answer is yes, sir.
The Mediterranean diet.
So they go I formation set. This is a little different. And Vasey under center. Split one receiver out left. And they go traditional option, but nowhere to go. Drop for a loss. And that was Naz Cobb, the sophomore. Check that. Bryce Harrison with the stop. Watch this. Loss of 7.
Well, now earlier in the pregame, I saw them running out of this formation, and they were throwing the ball a little bit more. So maybe they're trying to see what adjustment East St. Louis would make in the secondary or linebackers would make to that particular set.
They bring Landon Miller on. And they go back to the wing. Casey, counter. That's Vanderweel. Got about 6 on that, which is fine, but when you're 3rd and 12 now, this is why getting behind the chains with this kind of offense is so dangerous.
Well, and I talked about that. It's really difficult. And game plan when you go against a team like this is, well, we want to get them down early. Now, you know, talk is cheap. You still got to perform and do it. But that's what you want to do, because you don't want them to have to keep running the ball and control the chains in the clock. You want them to throw the ball.
We've talked about first down, but they've not done it on 3rd down. Double pass back. Vasey tries to get through 3 tacklers, and it's not going to work. Stopped at the 29. And the struggles for this offense continues. They had the opening drive. It went really well, and it hasn't since. And they'll be forced to punt.
That's just great discipline on the part of East St. Louis backside secondary staying home. Oftentimes when you see a move like that in high school, they all flow to the ball, but they're coached to stay home because those guys that are further back, they're not going to make the play over on that side of the field. So stay home and look for counters and bootlegs and misdirections, and that's exactly what they did.
Miller is the punter, standing at his own 15-yard line. 33-yard average on the year. That's going to go for more than 33. That is a great punt. Look at this roll. And it's going to get picked up by Watson, who's
nice
dropped at the 5. Tremendous tackle on that one. Logan Harlow, the senior. That's a 66-yard punt, a season long for Prairie Ridge. Long field for East St. Louis coming up out of a timeout. Watch this punt again.
That's just a line drive, and you can see what a great punt that is. Very effective, certainly on the turf, and what a great job of getting to the football and making that tackle right there.
That was Logan Harlow and Jeffrey North, both on pursuit of that. And again, they don't all have to be pretty high end over end punts. Line drive catches the turf bounce sometimes, and Landon Miller with a career best 66-yard punt couldn't have come at a better time when they needed to flip the field.
Well, coming now into this offensive set for East St. Louis, they've had 144 yards rushing. 5 of those runs have been over 10 yards.
Here's Martin getting loose. Can't get through that tackle. And every time he's hit, he is going to feel it with that left shoulder. Clearly coming into this one with a shoulder injury. And it has progressively gotten worse as we've gone on today.
The other part of that is it doesn't help to be bouncing on that turf when you go down, because the turf doesn't give.
There's a spring to it, but not much.
Not enough if you've got people landing on you.
Right. That's where you're thankful the weather in his eyes is at 50 degrees on this afternoon. And he's going to be dropped at about the 15-yard line this time.
Close to a first down.
You know, Martin he's had a good workload, not an overly heavy workload like we've seen with some of our athletes that we've had over the course of the weekend, but he's already closing in on 10 carries, which is essentially putting him on pace for 30 to be the workhorse today.
We've seen a lot of workhorses over the weekend. We've had so many records, various records set for the different classes. It's been just really an unusual weekend for that.
I believe we are fixing the chains. Got to have the clip on the right line. That's always a big help. And here's Martin cutting back in, stuffed right at the line of scrimmage. Nowhere to go that time. A swarm of wolves there to take him down. And Joey Vanderweel, the junior, leading the charge for the Wolves.
First down is a big down for both teams. Normally we talk about Prairie Ridge, that being a big down for them when it's a team that's a non-passing team. East St. Louis, it's a big down for them, but they have a little more versatility because of the run-pass option. And, of course, when they have Robert Pops Battle at quarterback, he can keep plays alive with his feet.
Battle in shotgun. He will throw left side, and it's open and caught. And the catch for DeJarian Miller, the senior. And that'll be a first down. I think if you're Darren Sunkett, you're okay with just churning some first downs and taking some time off the clock and chunk yardage.
He's in no hurry to give the ball back to the Wolves. It's a good catch right there by Miller, his 24th catch of the year. The big thing about East St. Louis receivers is the yak, the yards after the catch. Miller averages 16 yards per catch. So that kind of tells you about the athlete and what kind of receiving things that they do with the football after they catch it.
Here's Martin, shoestring tackle, won't get out of that. And the stop by Giovanni Crutori. You've seen a lot of his brother Dom all year.
If East St. Louis goes to the passing game, Matt, all of those receivers, Miller averages 16 a catch. Rogers averages 17 a catch. Watson averages 14 a catch. Bennett averages 12. So that's the whole concept of having great athletes at wide receiver. That forces those linebackers and defensive backs to stay off a little bit, and consequently it helps your running game.
Here's Battle. He'll throw right side, and he's got a man. It's Watson. Back towards the middle of the field, but nowhere really to go. And another first down pickup for East St. Louis. 3 and 4 for Battle now. And about 40 yards or so, a little more than that.
Good delivery of the football. I mean, that's a rope coming right at him. Good job of getting to the football by the Wolves. But some of this passing the reason for it might be taking the pressure off of Martin as far as running the football.
They almost have to at this point. And also something that Prairie Ridge may not have anticipated. Deep throw, middle of the field. He's got Watson just out of the range of Jesse's arms. That would have been a touchdown had it fallen in. But Battle has got quite the arm.
Well, that throws the fear of God into the defensive backs for Prairie Ridge, that he can throw the ball that far, but also that the receiver can get that far away from the defensive back. I mean, he was past him by about 4 yards. So sometimes big cushions aren't enough with these receivers with the great speed that they have. There is a reason why they're called the East St. Louis Flyers.
And Jesse Watson not exactly flying back. It's a long run down there. He's taking his time getting back there. Play clock running down. They get it off just in time. Here's Martin, the big hole. Can he get by one tackler? He cannot. Tripped up after a first down. It's not so much speed, but it's he's evaluating what he's running into as he turns the corner.
Well, you can see the big lineman getting out in front of him right now. Patterson and McVeigh, and he takes advantage of those guys. Does a nice job of following his blockers. And there's no doubt about it, he's banged up. But I'll tell you what, I'll take a banged up player that'll give me at 8 to 12 yards a carry.
12 carries for 128 yards for the less than healthy Martin. Battle will throw out to Martin, and it's a catch and run at the 25. That's going to be a first down. And the Flyers moving the chains with rhythm here in this second quarter.
A lot of versatility in that offense. A lot of great athletes. Very well-coached team. And again, we mentioned in the open, they don't have a lot of problems in Illinois with the competition. They have to go out of state to get some competition, which they did in their first 3 ball games. In fact, they went as far as going to Georgia to get a ball game.
Battle will keep it, and he'll get about 6 or 7. Yeah, they played at Canton, Hall of Fame, side of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, against St. Francis out of Maryland. They played Christian Brothers. They played DeSmet to end the season. They went to Georgia, lost a tough one, 10-8 against Creekside. And they go through the Southwest slate, and then they get to the playoffs, and then you're trying to figure out how good are they.
Yeah, because they really don't get a lot of competition during the regular season. And they don't get a lot of kids that get a lot of reps because they end up having a lot of blowouts in the regular season.
Here's Martin to the sideline, and another first down. And there are a ton of holes for him to run through.
There's some fast healing there. That didn't look like that arm was too bad. See the move right there. Good deke outside, setting up that move on that cornerback.
This drive started at the other 5-yard line, and it's taken a ton off the clock here in the second quarter. More than 5 minutes at this point. Battle will hand it off after a brief hesitation. Martin walks into the end zone for the 8-yard touchdown.
He was just setting up the blocks at the line of scrimmage right there. Very interesting run for Martin, but shows you his mentality as far as running with the football and using those exceptionally big and very versatile offensive linemen. You can see right here, it was not a real good handoff between him and Pops, but then he cut it back up inside. It was not originally designed to go outside. It was more going to be more of an outside option.
12 plays, 95 yards, 5-12 on the time of possession there. Rico Bond's extra point is good. And to Ryan Martin, you saw no celebration. And this is why. He's tired, he's hurting, he's ready to go home. He just wants to win the state championship and call it a day. He's doing all the work he needs to do. Taking a sigh of relief in the end zone, a 2-touchdown lead for the Flyers.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the stage.
In the pool.
On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate.
East St. Louis with a 2-touchdown lead as we head towards halftime. 3:39 remaining in quarter number 2. Matt Rodewald, Jack McInerney back with you at Memorial Stadium, our Class 6A game. Midway through here on this nice and warm late November afternoon. We will take it.
A lot of dominance here by East St. Louis, 254 yards to only 85 for the Wolves of Prairie Ridge.
Macy takes the short kick, and he'll start at the 33-yard line. Let's send it down to Darius.
Yeah, we've seen Ryan Martin score 3 touchdowns here, and it kind of makes a lot of sense why. You see up front, they've got big linemen up front, and they're led by 6'6", 358-pound tackle, the second-ranked player in the state of Illinois, according to 24/7 Sports. Miles McVay going to Alabama. He committed this past summer, and in an article I read, he had a limo escort to that commitment as well, so he went on and pulled out all of these stops heading to choosing his college destination. But along that line, he's also joined by Paris Patterson, who is going to Arkansas, and Brendan Henderson, who's going to Illinois, guys that you mentioned as well. So I expect a few more runs for Ryan Martin behind that big offensive line.
All right, thank you, Darius. Get a look at Miles McVay there. And on the field right now, they're attending to Tyler Vasey, who was hurt on that kick return. He gets up and walks off his own power. And he was shaken up a little bit. He's going to have to come out for a play on offense here.
Yes, he is. Getting back to that offensive line of East St. Louis, 4 of those 5 kids were starters last year on the team that was in here for the 5A state championship game. So that kind of gives you an idea of the experience that they have coming back. And East St. Louis, we talked about Nazareth playing a lot of young kids in that last ball game, that last great ball game that we had. East St. Louis always plays young kids. They've always got sometimes freshmen, but oftentimes a lot of sophomores playing.
And first down pickup. And it's Picasso Ruiz, the sophomore, who is in at quarterback for one play. He does his job, picking up about 6 or 7 yards. And that was Elijah Loading, a freshman, who was out there on the up back. So no harm, no foul in one play. Vasey, he'll keep it, and he'll get the first down, and they'll move the chains.
Now, last year in this game, Cary Grove would have been giving that ball to the fullback almost every time against East St. Louis, and now it's the reverse. He fakes to the fullback on every play, and then he keeps it, but East St. Louis isn't falling for that.
They haven't been able to get the same kind of consistency with the yardage on that play. Vasey, opposite direction, caught from behind and nearly got through. Still, it's going to be 6 more yards. Keeping an eye on the clock now with 2.5 to go. Watch it again.
This is a good job here. He kind of gets outside, but really by hanging onto that cloth, the old Caraway jerseys, and he would have been gone down the sidelines. But right now, budgets don't allow for that. So that held him to a big gain.
Vasey gives this time. And it's the up back through. Loading again. Elijah Loading. Again, this is a freshman. You put the freshman at the up back, you don't have as much responsibility. They are still over on 3rd down. This is 3rd down and 2. Clock running at 1:40. Vasey will follow through, and he will be short maybe by close. A half a yard. East St. Louis, by the way, has 3 timeouts left.
You got a tough mark there.
It's a little bit further away from the first down marker that we thought we would see. Maybe by a football closer. This is going to be about a half yard.
Well, the constriction right here by the defense as far as East St. Louis, you can see all those linebackers up. You can see that defensive line. And they're saying that the secondary, since you don't throw that much, but even if you do, we feel as if our defensive backs are quick enough, we can handle your receiver. So we're going to play that run, and we're just going to choke you with our defense.
Clock winding down. We're going to walk into a timeout for Prairie Ridge here with 50 seconds to go. At the very least, they want to make sure that East St. Louis doesn't get the ball back and put more on the board. Again, the Flyers chose to defer, which means they'll get the ball coming out of the half. This makes this 4th down all that much more important to pick it up. We had one exciting game So far, it's been a good one. East St. Louis been in control. Our next two games are the ones a lot of folks in the Chicagoland area looking to watch. Mount Carmel, #1 all season long, 13-0. But folks in Batavia would like one more down with clock on it this time.
Yeah,
the Bulldogs and the Caravan will do battle in the 7A title game at 4 o'clock. That is scheduled for 4 o'clock. We anticipate that to be a little bit after 4 o'clock. And then the 8A game. These two teams looking all year to face each other. Of course, it'll be Loyola and Lincoln Way East. Both teams ranked in the top 4 or 5 in the Chicagoland area all year long. Loyola's lone loss coming in Week 9 to Mount Carmel. And Lincoln Way East just continues to truck along quietly in their own little undefeated world.
They hit under
most
the radar.
of the attention's on the Catholic League. So we're looking forward to both of those games coming up here on the IHSA Television Network. 4th down and a half a yard for Tyler Vasey and company. They'll sneak it, and they'll get it. And by about 2 yards. Clock stops. The Loyola coaching staff talking to certain riders going, where do you think they're going to be? There's only one there up there in Wilmette, and that's Lincoln Way East. So they're awfully familiar and paying attention more often than not to what's going on in Frankfort. Here's Vasey again, down to the 40. The 17th carry of this first half. Will they move quickly here?
Well,
one timeout left for Prairie Ridge.
They're just trying to set themselves up for the second half. They want to see what adjustments they need to make, so that's the reason why they're doing this.
Vasey will throw a couple of crossing routes to work with. He'll have room to run. Nearly faked himself out of his shoes. He does get out of bounds with 8 seconds to go. Brogan Amherst has attempted 1 field goal all year, and that was a 29-yarder. I think we're out of that range right now. Watch it again.
You can see the crossing route right there, but East St. Louis was in his zone. They just let that receiver come right into them. And, of course, Vasey had nowhere to throw the ball and tried to scramble out of it.
Landon Miller is going to come off. So maybe 1 or 2. Play clock winding down. And they get it off. Vasey will throw. Over the middle and intercepted at the 1-yard line. They'll take it out. Time has expired. Can they turn the corner and bring it down the sidelines? They'll get all the way to midfield, and that is how we will go into halftime. So the pick from Sale Reyes, the sophomore, seals a very good first half for East St. Louis with a 2-touchdown lead at the break.
Very impressive right here. East St. Louis showing all the speed that we've heard about and that we saw last year. Really good job right there at jumping on that route, and then a good return. It would have been besides the fact that the clock ran out, it would have been a lot more if this been in the third quarter for them, but they got out of trouble here. And Prairie Ridge is going to go into halftime and say, well, we're going to have to throw the ball a little better because they're shutting down the run on us.
22-7 our score. East St. Louis on the verge of another state championship. Let's check in with their head coach, Darius.
Prairie Ridge leading at halftime here, joined by Coach Darren Suckett. What did you like about how your offense ran the ball there in the first half?
Well, that's what we want to do coming out. We really want to get our gap scheme going. And, our big guys up front and our back, they're doing a great job for us right now.
Obviously, a pretty good example of how your defense has played there right at the end of the half as well. Prairie Ridge scored on that first drive. Not much after that. What did you like about what you did defensively?
Oh, we're flying around. It's relentless effort out there. And that's what that's our motto. All gas, no brakes, and relentless effort. And I think our guys are doing a great job containing 7 right now.
All right, thank you for your time. Good luck in the second half.
All right, Darius, thank you very much. Darren Sunkett trying to win another state championship, bring it to the east side. 22-7 our score at the break. The Flyers are flying around, and it's Tyron Martin.
From the days of the one-room schoolhouse, public schools have always been the heart of our community. It's where our students learn and are inspired to dream big, where we cheer on our teams under Friday night lights, and where parents, teachers, students, and loved ones come together as one. Now, More than ever, our public schools unite us. This message is brought to you by the Illinois Education Association, IEA, because we are stronger, united.
For extraordinary moments in life, you should never have to settle for ordinary healthcare coverage. That's why at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, we put the extra in our plans. Extra me time to catch up on your faves, with telehealth visits included. Extra peace of mind, knowing a nurse line is here 24/7 for those unexpected moments. Visit us at bcbsilextra.com to enroll. Because extraordinary coverage should come with extraordinary extras.
How do you predict the future? You create it. You build a foundation, pave a path forward, soak up the journey, and turn experiences into something life-changing. At Illinois State University, we deliver on what every college should promise you: the opportunity and tools to write your legacy every day. The rest is up to you. What will you create? Create your legacy at Illinois State University.
Black Friday is here at Menards, and we've got the perfect present for your loved ones. With something for Dad, Mom, and the kids. Everyone in the family will get what they want, even your furry friends. Enjoy the season and the savings. Deck out the tree and stuff your stockings with these great gifts at amazing prices. Hurry in and save big money. These deals won't last long. Doors open at 6 a.m. on Black Friday.
Save big money at Menards.
The IHSA, committed to keeping student-athletes safe. Through educational initiatives and national partnerships, we're going the distance to develop safer protocols for our teams. Plus, we continue to improve scheduling and conditioning to reduce injuries from preseason through each state championship. 31 sports, 350,000 student-athletes, and one goal: player safety. The IHSA, the future plays here.
It is a 22-7 lead for East St. Louis in our Class 6A state championship matchup over Prairie Ridge. We're at the break here at Memorial Stadium here in Champaign. Always fun to be here, and always fun here at halftime as we get a chance to talk with Craig Anderson, the executive director of the IHSA. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Matt. Great to be back and here in Champaign with this beautiful weather.
How about this, 50 degrees or so? You think you can take this for a state championship spin every year?
I wish we could. Yeah, this is awesome.
Tell me about just the fact that being back in the fall, and this is like the first year where we've all felt like we're really, really back to normal with sports and the rhythm of the sports calendar for the IHSA.
Yeah, it's been tremendous. You know, we've had great fall activities so far this year, great championships leading up to what we're seeing here yesterday and today, kind of culminating the fall this weekend. So it's great to be back. Obviously, things feel very normal. Return of so many fans back and enjoying this experience, and back on television to let the viewers see what good things our student athletes and coaches do day to day.
And getting back to normal means occasionally you hear a little chirping at officials, and what ends up doing as a result of COVID, and people saying, you know what, I don't want to go back and do that, which means we have a shortage of officials. How much are you really trying to push and encourage people to think about going out and being official here in Illinois?
Well, it's absolutely something we continue to encourage. We're looking to engage younger students that are interested. So right now the licensing age is 17, and in December we're going to approach our board about doing a junior officiating opportunity, so getting down to maybe the 14, 15-year-olds and let them license, get some experience at a licensing fee that is much lower than traditional. And so, yeah, hoping to get started with a younger age and create that interest early. But we need people to take some thought about it, because in all sports we need more officials.
Right.
We saw a number of football contests this regular season get moved out of the Friday nights to a Thursday or Saturday. So, yeah, if people are out there, itching to get involved and give back to a sport that they maybe played, we'd love to have them.
And it's going to continue to stay that way, the Thursday night type schedule from time to time. And how does it affect the girls' sports, so to speak? I mean, we can talk about football and basketball all you want, but I'm sure there's a real shortage in some of those sports that don't get the television time that football is today.
Yeah, for sure. Volleyball is one that sticks out. We have so many girls that are out playing volleyball. Our spring sports, softball, and the outdoor sports in particular. So, in all sports, we need folks to come on board. And even, the varsity sport level gets a lot of a recognition, but it's the underclass. And, we end up with one umpire on a softball freshman game, and, those things just aren't how we'd like to have it done. And so as more people get involved, it's an opportunity for the games to get officiated properly, and that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, it's just not fair to the kids. You want to give them the best opportunity. That's what Title IX ultimately did by giving girls sports opportunity. I got my jacket on here for the IHSA. How proud are you what Illinois has made strides in terms of girls sports?
Oh, it's tremendous. We celebrated it all last year, as you know, and the culminating opportunities that we got to celebrate girls and their activities, involvement not only in sports but also in activities. And so we've made tremendous strides, and we look forward to that continuing to grow as we move on into the future.
Last question as we stand here in Memorial Stadium. I know the bid is coming up for what's going to happen with the football state finals. What do you anticipate in terms of how this is going to go here in the next month or so?
Yeah, well, it's a board decision, and so our board of directors meeting will happen December 7th, coming up very soon, and so we'll put it in front of them, and they'll make a decision, and so look for an announcement coming very soon about where we'll be for the next 5 years.
All right, we look forward to that. Craig Anderson, the executive director of the IHSA. I still have to finish my basketball test for officiating. I got to get it done. November 30th is the deadline if you haven't gotten it done, guys. We are at halftime. We'll have more coming up in our 6A state championship game here at Champaign.
At halftime, Prairie Ridge trailing East St. Louis 22-7 here at halftime. To Ryan Martin has 3 touchdowns. Okay.
Welcome back to Memorial Stadium, halftime of this Class 6A state championship game. There you see the halftime score, 22-7 in favor of the Flyers of East St. Louis. As we welcome you back, Mark Kruger along with Darius Joshua. And Darius, Ryan Martin with the 3 touchdowns, that huge offensive line for East St. Louis. They're probably pretty confident right now in the locker room.
Yeah, and Ryan Martin is a player out there running a little bit hurt. You saw one of his biggest runs. He came off the field holding that shoulder, but still able to power through and finish each run, getting those 3 touchdowns in the first half.
Well, let's take a look at the first half highlights, and you'll see the Wolves of Prairie Ridge in the white, and they are going to strike first here. A little over 7 minutes to go in the opening quarter. It's Tyler Vasey from 14 yards out on the counter. East St. Louis will come back, though, to Ryan Martin, the sophomore, with the 34-yard touchdown. Watch this extra point. It's a high snap, so they're going to throw it. Antoine Hayden is in the end zone. So the 2-point conversion is good. It's 8-7 East St. Louis. More Flyers. Here's to Ryan Martin, his second touchdown of the game from 6 yards out. And then it's to Ryan Martin one more time from 7 yards out, his third touchdown of the first half. The extra point was good, so it is now 22-7 in favor of East St. Louis. So Prairie Ridge and quarterback Tyler Vasey, What does he have to do here in the second half?
Well, he's going to have to do a lot. He's obviously done a lot for the Wolves all season long, and, of course, East St. Louis knows that they want to get him the ball. He had a bit of time to get in there, a little more running lanes on that last drive there. We'll see if they can try to find a little more openings for him in the second half.
All right, we need to take a timeout, and we will be back with more from Memorial Stadium. Your halftime score, 22-7, East St. Louis with the lead, right here on the IHSA Television Network.
Want a great career? Join the Carpenters Union and be part of the next generation building our communities. With the Carpenters Union Career Connections program, high school students get a head start on the industry's leading curriculum. Learn the latest in construction technology and the many skilled crafts the Carpenters Union represents. Plus, earn as you learn. Receive a nice paycheck, health insurance benefits, and best of all, no college debt. Ask your school district to participate in the Career Connections program and get started on your future.
This is the great state where you'll find hearts bigger, beating truer, and always wide open. Country miles with never-ending pride, virtues and values, and colors that run deep. At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, we were born and raised in the land of Lincoln. And like you, we'll always be here, standing for all. Blue Cross and Blue Shield, nationwide strong, Illinois born.
Black Friday is here at Menards, and we've got the perfect present for your loved ones. With something for Dad, Mom, and the kids. Everyone in the family will get what they want, even your furry friends. Enjoy the season and the savings. Deck out the tree and stuff your stockings with these great gifts at amazing prices. Hurry in and save big money. These deals won't last long. Doors open at 6 a.m. on Black Friday.
Save big money at Menards.
There are more than 20,000 ways to experience Illinois State.
Hey, what's up? You ready to go to class?
What kind of Redbird will you be? Hi. Create your legacy at Illinois State University.
And welcome back to Memorial Stadium, halftime of this Class 6A state championship game. The East St. Louis Flyers, they were in this championship game last year, lost to Cary Grove by 37-36. This year, they lead it here at the break by a score of 22-7. Time now for the first half stats, brought to you by LiUNA. Start your career in construction today at LiUNAcareers.org. And you see the rushing yards there of East St. Louis with that huge offensive line, 193 rushing yards in that first half. Certainly one of the keys to this game, and of course to Ryan Martin with the 3 rushing touchdowns. Look at the total yards, 254 to 111 in favor of the Flyers. Halftime score here in Champaign, 22-7. East St. Louis leading Prairie Ridge. We'll be back with more right here on the IHSA Television Network.
Want a great career? Join the Carpenters Union and be part of the next generation building our communities. With the Carpenters Union Career Connections program, high school students get a head start on the industry's leading curriculum. Learn the latest in construction technology and the many skilled crafts the Carpenters Union represents. Plus, earn as you learn. Receive a nice paycheck, health insurance benefits, and best of all, no college debt. Ask your school district to participate in the Career Connections program and get started on your future.
From the days of the one-room schoolhouse, public schools have always been the heart of our community. It's where our students learn and are inspired to dream big, where we cheer on our teams under Friday night lights, and where parents, teachers, students, and loved ones come together as one. Now, more than ever, our public schools unite us. This message is brought to you by the Illinois Education Association, IEA, because we are stronger united.
For extraordinary moments in life, you should never have to settle for ordinary healthcare coverage. That's why at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, we put the extra in our plans. Extra me time to catch up on your faves, with telehealth visits included. Extra peace of mind, knowing a nurse line is here 24/7 for those unexpected moments. Visit us at bcbsilextra.com to enroll. Because extraordinary coverage should come with extraordinary extras.
East St. Louis and the Flyers with a controlling performance so far, 22-7, a 2-touchdown lead as we get set to start our third quarter here at Memorial Stadium. Matt Rodewald, Jack McInerney with you here as Prairie Ridge is back on the field, ready to go. Let's send it down to Darius with more.
Second half getting ready to start here between Prairie Ridge and East St. Louis, joined now by Prairie Ridge's head coach, Chris Schremp. And obviously that first drive, you guys were able to get out there and score, but weren't able to get back into the end zone. What do you need to do from that first drive to bring on to the second half?
Yeah, I think you just got to get off the ball a little bit better. We got bogged down a little bit. Penalties killed us. Got us off schedule. We're not a big fan of throwing it on 1st and 10. We want to throw it when we want to throw it, and unfortunately with penalties, we got off schedule.
And defensively, they're obviously able to have a lot of success on the ground in that first half. What do you have to do to slow down Ryan Martin?
We got to tackle better. We got to come up and we got to make tackles. That's the biggest thing. We're just reminding the guys, use the fundamentals that we've been teaching them all summer long and all season long. We just got to get back to some good fundamentals this second half.
All right, thank you, Coach, for your time. Good luck to you in the second half. Prairie Ridge and East St. Louis getting ready to kick off in the second half with the Flyers leading 22-7. Back up to you guys.
All right, Darius, thank you very much. Coach Jack McInerney put the coaching hat on. What does off schedule mean to you when you hear Coach Schremp talk about that?
Well, off schedule is normally on their drives, they did what they did on their first drive. They had 67 yards, and they got a touchdown out of it. But then the remainder of that half, they had 43 yards the rest of that half. 67 yards for a touchdown in their first, and then the remainder of the game they had 43. That is not Prairie Ridge football, and that is not what Chris Schremp wants to have happen for his offense.
Trying to get 3 yards has been the task at hand. Meanwhile, East St. Louis, they've been able to run behind the toughness of Ryan Martin. That shoulder bothering him, and he's carrying it anyway, and carrying the load for East St. Louis.
Well, he's carrying quite a load. I mean, they had 9 plays of over 10 yards. They had 5 plays of over 15.5. They are averaging 10 yards a carry on every play. That's just amazing football. And the other part that's tough is Prairie Ridge is 0 for 5 on third downs. And they've been in third down situations, as coaches talked about. They've had 3rd and 9, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 24, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 2. You can't do that when you're talking about a wait-and-tee option offense. They don't want to throw the ball, and they basically can't throw the ball.
That's a live picture right now up to Ryan Martin. You saw him jogging for a second, not moving, that left arm kind of tucking it underneath his abdomen area. He is clearly not comfortable, and also knows that at this stage of the game, it's the last game of the season. He can rest all winter.
And that's usually the mentality of outstanding competitive athletes, is I've got the rest of the winter to rest. And I'm sure that's his attitude.
And while we have a minute, let's thank some folks that have been working hard today for the television, bringing you the television coverage. Guys up here in the booth, the windows are open here. And we're thankful that the weather is okay for guys like Aaron Bennett, of course, for Nick Pinto, our statistician guru. Greg Russell, who's clearly out getting something to eat right now. He's not in the booth at the moment. And the guys in the truck as well. There's a lot of guys working in terms of graphics, and you saw some of the video. They've got to put all that together. Our Weigel crew that's been putting this together. Chris Jackson, our executive producer. Joe Nicola, who has been in our ear all day. We're tolerating that a little bit. And he's been doing a great job as a senior producer. Thanks to everybody in the truck working hard as we start our second half.
Those guys all make us, the guys with the ties on, look really good.
They make us look handsome. Well, they make you look handsome.
I was going to say, I don't want to touch that one.
All right, we start our second half. Prairie Ridge will be down by 2 touchdowns. There's obviously a conversation for Prairie Ridge's defense. They've got to get off the field right now.
They've got to get off the field, and part of that is it's going to be a tough road to hoe for them. I mean, you can have all the game plans, and this is what we need to do. This is how we need to slide for this formation, and this is how we got to rotate. But it's still the kids that got to make the plays. And when you're talking about teams that, like East St. Louis, that has such great athletes and speed, that's tough to do.
Shotgun, flare out to the right side. There's Bennett with a blocker in front of him. He gets by him, midfield, foot race. Can anyone get there? They will not. East St. Louis on the first play of the second half, taking it 69 yards for the touchdown.
And that's a perfect example of being athletically overrated from the standpoint of, well, we have a penalty here.
And it's all going to come back.
Wow.
This is a holding penalty. There are certain plays in a game where you want to put a little check mark next to, and that's certainly one of them. That would have all but erased any doubt for East St. Louis, one would think.
Holding.
Let's see what the call is.
Number 16 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Will repeat. First down.
But that's a perfect example, Matt, of getting an athlete out in space.
Number
Watch
16.
the ball deliver. You look at the bottom of your screen right here. There's your hold right there, and there's another one right there.
Yep,
Good calls by the official. 2 holes, actually. But that gives you an idea of the athleticism when you get these kids out in space. They've got the speed and the ability.
Logan Harlow turned his shoulder out to try and go make that tackle, and he couldn't do it. So it'll be first down and 1 because of a spot penalty in space. They flare it out again. And the catch and run won't be nearly as effective this time around for John Daly, the junior receiver. Still first down, though. They'll move the chains.
There's not too many teams on 3rd and 1. They're going to throw the ball out in the flat like that to a wide receiver. You're going to run the ball up inside, but that gives you an idea of the confidence that coach has in his offense.
So Daly spreads out wide. 2 receivers to the top. They've got one on the bottom of your screen. It's Watson. Here's Martin again. He'll cut inside a blocker, and he'll pick up about 5 or 6. That play is going nowhere, but when you have the University of Alabama signee McVay kicking out, all of a sudden you have a magical running lane a truck can go through.
And the thing is, I mean, how many defensive backs are going to come up? And these defensive backs for Prairie Ridge are 145 pounds, 145, 165, and they're going up against a man that's 310 pounds. That's kind of a tough matchup.
Here's Martin again, looking for a hole. He'll cut back into a host of tacklers for Prairie Ridge. It's his 15th carry of the afternoon, and that sets up a very interesting 3rd and 4 for Prairie Ridge in their defense. And that shoulder continues to bother Martin. Chris Schrem talked about the fact that they needed this East St. Louis team to run as many plays as possible in hopes of scoring. But now they'd like to get him off the field. Martin again, he'll get the first down and out to the right side, cuts inside the 30-yard line. Dom Creator, I should say, with the tackle, 21-yard on pickup.
And they're just running this play to death. You can see all the linemen, just a stretch lead to the outside. They're just, I hate to say this, body on body. And the case is it's actually 2 or 3 body on 1 because of the size of the offensive lineman for East St. Louis. You know, they actually only weigh average 295 pounds, which is not as big as Peoria's offensive line did, but pretty darn close.
Martin again cuts in this time, and he'll maybe get a yard. The clock continues to run.
You see that offensive line when they run that stretch lead to the outside. You see Patterson at 300, Scarborough at 315, Pitts at 230, McVay at 330, Henderson at 300 pounds, and they're all moving to the outside. You talk about linemen having good feet. Those are some things that you need to watch. You'll see the size of those 5 linemen, but they all run extremely well.
9-minute mark of our 3rd quarter. East St. Louis with a 2-touchdown lead. 22-7 is our score. Clock winding down, play clock at 0, and they'll get the timeout just in time to avoid the penalty. So East St. Louis burns their first timeout of the second half. We'll take one as well. They've got to talk about it. East St. Louis driving, trying to put it away here in the 3rd quarter in Champaign. East St. Louis's offense has been humming along with to Ryan Martin, 174 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns so far, and they've spread the wealth in terms of their passing as well. 5 different receivers have caught passes for a total of 85 yards. This balanced attack for the Flyers has looked real good, and they face 2nd down and 9. Battle will throw right side, backside post for Watson. Touchdown, East St. Louis. 27 yards for the score.
What was really impressive about that was the poise of Robert Battle, the quarterback, how he waited for the receiver to break to the post. He just stood there and waited for the break, showed great poise, and then showed tremendous accuracy in delivering the football.
Jesse Watson, the senior.
Right on the money.
And East St. Louis a commanding 3-touchdown lead.
And Watson was a starter last year, so he's a veteran.
Bond connects on the extra point. He was knocked down on that kick, so that will add likely a penalty on the kickoff. The Prairie Ridge Wolves with a lot of high hopes coming into this one, but there was a fear if they don't get through that line,
personal foul.
This could be over quickly.
Kicker, number 17 on the defense. Extra point is good. The 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
It's been a physical mismatch.
It really has been.
You really can't. What the tough part about this is, you can see right here where he hits the leg of the kicker. Good call by the officials.
Dangerous.
You can't take a. You know, it's sad to come into a state championship game like this in Prairie Ridge, who's had such a great season, but they're just overmatched physically in this game by East St. Louis. Just has tremendous athletes, extremely well coached, and you know, the Prairie Ridge Wolves had a great season, and it's just one of those situations right now where they're coming up against a tough, good football team.
Each of the last 4 drives have resulted in a touchdown. And we're not talking like quick play touchdowns. 5 plays, 7, and the big one, the 12-play drive of 95 yards. The kickoff to the Wolves. Vasey will return, and he will be stopped at the 24-yard line. And he is slow to get up again. Stay here for a second.
He's getting a couple of pops big time.
He is I think he took a hit upstairs. And let's see if we can see it again.
Now he actually was out last year half of the season with an injury, and let's just hope that this did not reoccur with that hit.
Let's watch it one more time. It was right on the hit. I wonder if he took it to a helmet. Oh. And that's the exact reaction the whole building just had. Tyler Vasey will come off. We'll see how long it takes for him to come back, if we see him at all.
This could be the concussion protocol right here.
And you see the trainer and the training staff is going to be nearby him. He played 2 games in that spring season in the COVID year, and then broke a collarbone, and then came back, played 4 more games his junior year, broke his elbow on just falling down. And he was able to come back from that, I should say, then play 4 games. And you thought, oh, maybe there's something here. And so everyone was high on Vasey coming into his senior season. And Ruiz, the sophomore, will run this offense now. 6'1", 175-pound sophomore, Picasso Ruiz. Good signs you're seeing Tyler talk to the training staff right now. But he's had a tough go in terms of injuries. Smart kid, 4.0 GPA. As Chris Schemp talks about him, you want to talk about an All-American kid. Shortstop in baseball. Baseball might be his better sport. And the give to Vanderweel. And nowhere to go at the 25-yard line.
That offensive line is having a tough time controlling that front of East St. Louis. They're just very active and very physical. And, of course, they're getting a lot of quick fill by the linebackers, knowing that this is not the game for the Wolves to be throwing the football. They want to run the ball, so the linebackers don't really have to worry about dropping so much as sliding in and filling the gaps.
See, the conversation continues on the sideline. Tyler's not saying a whole lot.
That helmet stays off. That means he's not coming back in.
He has the helmet in his hand. And they're sending him over. We'll keep an eye on that as we keep going on the field as well. Ruiz on the run. And you don't want to, when you're looking at a 3-touchdown deficit at 29-7, you don't want to be looking too far ahead in terms of development, but these might be some very important reps for Picasso Ruiz at quarterback for Prairie Ridge.
Well, there's absolutely no doubt about that, Matt. And the thing is that that offensive line also gets a lot of reps. I mean, you know, we're in a tight ball game. Tight by that, I mean we're in a state championship game, but obviously East St. Louis has the upper hand. But the Wolves aren't going to go away from their game plan. They're not going to just start throwing the ball all over the ballpark because that's not who they are. That's not their reputation. So they're going to continue to run the ball, and occasionally you might see a play-action pass, but they're a run team.
Punt from Miller, and that's going to go out of bounds. He had that 66-yard punt that set things up for East St. Louis, who answered the call with a 95-yard drive. Tyler Vasey trying to keep his balance about himself. We'll see if we see him again. 6 minutes to go in our third quarter.
High school sports fans, relive your favorite moments. Just click the shopping cart below the video player to get your digital copy today.
Tyler Vasey with 70 rushing yards so far, but he has been everything but himself that we've seen in the last several weeks going against this East St. Louis Flyer defense. 43, I believe, in the opening drive, but it's been tough sledding after that, and he's taken a lot of hits along the way. You can see the speed's there, but so is the attention on him from everyone else.
Absolutely no doubt they've been keying on him. That was the game plan. Take him away, force them to do things that they don't want to do, and really he's the guy that's really carried them throughout the season with over 3,700 yards rushing and 290 yards a game himself just rushing the football. He averages total offense per game 316 yards. Absolutely amazing, and that's why it's a state record.
East St. Louis goes back to work on offense. Battle throws deep middle, over the middle, and caught. It's DeJarian Miller with the big catch. They flip the field, and they're within striking distance once again.
Well, that's where that height comes out. You can see right there, Miller's a 6'2", lanky receiver with excellent speed. Just a post route, got 2 steps on the defender, but the ball is really well delivered by Robert Pops Battle. He's shown us an arm that we hadn't really seen before because we were concentrating on Martin. But Battle throws the ball extremely well.
In the wind, cold, and snow last week, East St. Louis didn't complete a single pass in the semifinal win over Lamont. Here's Battle on the ground now. He'll try to get to the outside, slips out of a tackle. He'll race into the end zone, untouched for the touchdown. 26 yards for Robert Battle, the senior, putting it away for the Flyers.
What an excellent run right there. Just a great athlete, the moves that he put on people. And you just cannot say enough about a quarterback that can do that for your offense and your team, to keep plays alive with his feet. Such a great athlete. He delivers the football to get him down into that position with a great throw, and he comes up with a run like this. Look at the quick moves, and he's going upfield the whole time. 6 foot, 165 pounds. I mean, he's just really a good athlete. And we say that it sounds like redundancy with every athlete we've talked about with East St. Louis, but it's a fact.
I believe it unsportsmanlike was added to that. Bond will attempt the extra point. And no problems there. 2 plays, 32 seconds. A big 40-yard touchdown pass followed by a big-time touchdown run. Robert Battle, who's got Division I offers at the FCS level, will catch the attention of FBS colleges with that nifty move to get to the end zone there.
Well, anytime you got an athlete, as we said, that can do things like that when he's scrambling after he throws the ball to get you down the field. I mean, he showed you his arm and his accuracy. All of his throws have been right on the money. There's been no erratic throws for the most part. But then he can get you out of trouble with his feet. And when you have a running back like Martin, who gains 105 yards in a ball game and who's been averaging 10 yards a carry today, you know, this is just a really a special East St. Louis football team.
153 yards passing, 8 of 10 with 2 touchdowns. And Battle also adding 63 yards with that 26-yard touchdown run on 4 carries. The dual threat has been the difference maker for East St. Louis here on this Saturday afternoon.
And that's a dual threat in between the 2 tackles. And they got the wide receivers who are the other threats on the outside.
We have a flag on the kick here. Again, that was all the way back to the 25. Check that. That was the T. It was yellow. It's easy to mistake. And so Vasey is back on the field. One thing I'd like to point out as we watched Tyler Vasey get evaluated there, the thorough nature that we saw firsthand on camera of the Prairie Ridge training staff making very sure that Tyler Vasey was okay to play. And immediately sacked on his first trip back on the field.
Yeah, that was impressive. That was very impressive.
And that's one, jokingly speaking, where he's probably wish he's still on the sideline, not having to go through that. Protection breakdown, not a lot of help.
Well, the penetration is just amazing. What's happening is they're taking the defensive end and getting him up the field and forcing him inside to the linebackers that have no worries about any kind of play action. They're just filling on the inside, and they're taking everything away.
Bryce Harrison on the sack. So they're looking at 2nd down and 18 now. And this has been the kind of day for the Wolves this afternoon. Behind the chains. Vasey stopped from behind. They're able to penetrate the backside. And that was Dominic Dixon, who has got eye-popping number of stats and certainly catching the attention of college scouts around the country. 6 foot, 180-pound junior.
And what East St. Louis does so well and so effectively is the backside. When you pull any lineman, they really get in the hip pocket of that lineman because he's going to take you right to the football, and they're very quick in doing that.
Vasey to throw over the middle. It's caught. Drake Tomasowicz with his 9th catch of the year. And it will bring up 4th down and 5.
Nice throw there by Vasey. Of course, as you mentioned, he's a baseball player, so his delivery, I'm sure if he was probably in the spread formation, he'd be just as effective throwing the football and running it.
You wonder that just because of where he plays on the baseball field as well. Here's 4th and 5. Pressure coming immediately. Vasey gets out of it. He'll try and cut back in, but nowhere to go. The Flyers stop Vasey, and the Wolves on 4th down. They'll take over inside their own territory.
Well, it's tough to outrun speed, and that's exactly what Vasey tried to do there. And East St. Louis, good job of penetration, forcing him to scramble outside, but the cornerback and linebacker come up and make a nice tackle in the open field. A very well-schooled, fundamental East St. Louis football team. Darryl Suckett and his staff do a great job of coaching those athletes.
Michael Tillman, you're right there on the tackle. You know, Chris Shrimp talked about at halftime, his frustration with his own kids in terms of tackling and tackling breakdown. Let's give credit to where credit's due. East St. Louis has done a nice job tackling in the open field, making sure Vasey didn't get away today.
No doubt about it. And the other part of it is, here's one of the reasons why it's tough to tackle in the open field.
Bennett down the sideline. Did he stay in? He did not. They're going to mark it out. He will not get to the end zone. They're going to mark it all the way back at the 34-yard line.
It's so hard in the open field to go one-on-one with a great athlete and try and tackle him. When he's got moves, he's got speed. So it's a combination of the great athlete that's coming at you, not so much your poor tackling in many cases.
Right there. The step actually was the plant foot. Prior to, he had tightrope that whole time. Once he tried to go back in, he ended up stepping out. Bennett now. And he might have made it back. It looks like he was about a yard loss, as opposed to getting back to the original line of scrimmage. Chris Bennett's big long run gets East St. Louis over 400 total yards for the day.
We're still in the third quarter, so that tells you something about what a great offensive talent East St. Louis is.
We've seen some impressive East St. Louis performances over the years. This is on the short list. Second down and 11. And Battle will throw. Lofts it. Got a man. And that's going to be a first down. Jarian Miller with the catch.
They had a man.
About 12 there.
Excuse me. They had a young man last year named Burden, who was just probably one of the most highly recruited athletes in the country. East St. Louis had him on the opening kickoff. I think he ran it back for a touchdown. But every time he touched the football, people in the stands stood up because he was that good that every time he touched the ball, you thought that he could take it to the end zone. He was just amazing.
The same kind of electricity for this Flyers team this time around. It's Bennett in. And with the lead where it's at, I would imagine we might be done seeing Ryan Martin the rest of the day. He's standing on the sidelines right now. Bennett again. Squeezing through, and he will walk in for the touchdown.
That's a heck
the
of a
Flyers
run.
pouring it on here in Champaign, 42-7.
One heck of a run right there. Now there's a young guy that would start obviously on probably 9 out of 10 teams in the state, and he's the backup running back here in East St. Louis. Just a good job. Watch the bounce out and the cutback. And the power that he shows right there, a combination of power and poor tackling by the Wolves and Prairie Ridge. But, you know, when I talk about the stable of running backs that they have at East St. Louis, he's a perfect example.
That's weight room stuff right there. Squeezing out of that, Chris Bennett, of course, 6'4", 200-pound senior. Bond on for the extra point. Little high snap. The extra point is good. The route is on. It's 43 unanswered for the Flyers with 2:10 left in quarter number 3. This has been as impressive as we've seen East St. Louis here in the state stage in a long time.
Absolutely right, man. And the interesting part about it is on the first drive with Prairie Ridge and the Wolves, they look really efficient, driving the ball down the field and basically scoring the ball and running the option. We thought, gee, it's going to be really something. And all of a sudden after that, forget it. They didn't do anything after that first drive, and East St. Louis just blossomed. They're well over 400 yards now, and there's a good shot right now of Mr. Watson. Excuse me, of Martin. He's resting.
Yeah, that shoulder's feeling a little better when he sees himself in the big screen here at Memorial Stadium, no doubt about it.
Plus, looking at the scoreboard makes it feel a lot better.
43-7 is our score.
It's getting company now.
And they'll kick off from the 40-yard line. And diving on it for Prairie Ridge is Elijah Loading. No, this might be our most lopsided game we've seen this weekend, although IC Catholic was very impressive. Remember that 3A game, Williamsville, the Bullets had a 10-0 lead in that one before IC Catholic and the Knights ripped off 48 straight points to put that one away. Sacred Heart Griffith with a state championship to send Ken Leonard out in style. Lena Winslow, another dominant effort. And what a thriller in our 2A game that we had yesterday between St. Teresa and Tri-Valley. And our first game today, Nazareth, 10-4 state champs. Who would have thought that after they started 2-4 in the season? We'll have Mount Carmel and Batavia coming up for our 7A title game. Scheduled to go at the top of the hour, probably a little bit past that at this point. And then Lincoln Way East and Loyola Academy, the Ramblers and the Griffins, will do battle for the 8A championship here at Memorial Stadium under the lights.
Those last several games are games of quarterbacks. Every one of those teams has an outstanding quarterback who's the focal point of their offense.
Vasey continues on. Watched a 99-yard sneak last week from Lincoln Way East, trying to get out of their own end zone. Pile keeps moving, and there goes your quarterback. Don't see it very often, but you do see it. Now, these are very hard games to play in for guys like Tyler Vasey. How do you work through this mentally if you're him at this point?
He's a competitor, and all he's going to do is he's not looking at the scoreboard. He's thinking of every play as the first play, or obviously it's the next play. I don't care what the scoreboard is. I'm going after it as if it's 0-0.
He will barrel through, and the ball comes out. East St. Louis has it. And the first fumble of the day. And the Wolves will hand it back over to the Flyers in their own territory.
Yeah, it's a tough day for Vasey. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, he runs hard enough to be a fullback. Let's take a look at how he does this. He's got a lot of people after him. And there's the rip right there.
Dominic Dixon comes up with it. And the nightmare continues for the Wolves in the final minute of this third quarter.
Right there, Coach Tremp is giving him a talk, and I'll tell you what, it's a father-to-son talk right there. He knows that young man's had a great career and has had a great season for him. He's not saying anything to him negatively about the fumble or anything else. Everything that Chris Tremp is telling him right now is positive. And that's why he's such a great coach, and that's why Prairie Ridge has a great program, because of guys like Coach Tremp.
Battle, open man. He will walk in for the touchdown. 41 yards for the score. And another exclamation point for East St. Louis. Rico Bond finds his way into the end zone, and the points keep coming for East St. Louis.
And this is certainly not the way that the Wolves of Prairie Ridge wanted to end it, but East St. Louis is making sure that's how it's going to go. There's a good throw from Pops down the field again, just wide open. They're getting so concerned with the running game that the versatility of East St. Louis's offense, combined with the great athletes they have at every position, when they touch the football, each and every one of them can go all the way.
Catch the touchdown, and the extra point is good from Bond as well. The clock will run the rest of the way. Robert Battle, 10 of 12 for 207 yards and 3 touchdowns. A career day for him. And East St. Louis, the conversation coming in was about the other quarterback. Robert Battle wanted to get in that conversation as well, and he has forced his way in.
Well, if you ever want to have a career day, is there a better time to have it than in the state championship game?
Terrence Sunkett, you think back to the state championships that they've played in this building or elsewhere, whether it's 2019 against Prairie Ridge. Took them a while to shake off that Prairie Ridge team. And I think back to 2008 against Geneva. Geneva played 3.5 quarters of good football before East St. Louis did this and put them away for good. We have not seen a wire-to-wire level of dominance from the Flyers like this on the state stage in a generation.
Well, actually, after those first 3 non-conference ball games, this is basically the domination they had for the rest of the season. There's no doubt about that.
They put 80 on Alton. We're not going to see that. It's a stark reminder of what they're capable of every time they step out on the football field.
Well, they had 2 back-to-back 68-point games against Belleville West and Alton. I mean, that's a lot of points to put on competitive 6A football teams.
That will be the end of the third quarter, and we will have a rolling clock for our fourth quarter. The East St. Louis fans celebrating as we've got one more quarter to go. 12 minutes to a 10th state championship for East St. Louis. East Side rolling and riding high here in Champaign.
Welcome back to the Class 6A State Championship game on the IHSA television network. East St. Louis leading Prairie Ridge 50-7 at the start of the fourth quarter here. And Prairie Ridge not having the best game so far, but they do have a great tradition that they do every year. They honor 65 veterans this season at their Military Appreciation Night. This year, that game was against Prairie. They have special uniforms for the night as well. And the proceeds from the T-shirts sold over $1,500. Those were donated to Veterans Pathways as well. And Coach Chris Schrempf said that it was after a trip to West Point that they came up with the idea for each teammate to get their own military dog tag that has their name and the word selfless on it. They trade with a teammate during the week as a way to emphasize that they play for each other, and that's the mentality that he wants the team to have every time they step out on the field. Send back up to you guys in the booth.
All right, Darius, thank you very much. Great story. You love to see that. Just the element of team, the element playing for your brother, your family member, your teammate. All of those types of stories. And while Chris Schrempf has a great idea here, there are a ton of teams, hundreds of teams around the state of Illinois that do these types of things throughout the year, and we salute them for doing that. So the clock runs, 2nd and 5. And give to the up back.
They're not going to be letting up here now. East St. Louis might be getting more defensive players in the ball game to give them some playing time, but you're not going to see Prairie Ridge give up too soon here.
We talked about the dominance of East St. Louis in terms of points. This is the most that East St. Louis has had in a state championship game since 1989. You have to go back to this 6A title game against Thornton. That's played at Hancock Stadium in Normal. That long stretch of real good football in the 80s, that stretches back at East St. Louis. And back with a vengeance the last few years.
That was
Here's Vasey.
Coach Shannon, I believe, at the time.
And he finally breaks one. The ball gets loose. Picked up for a second, and it rolls out of bounds. And Prairie Ridge will hang on to it. Vasey slow to get up. Something they would love to get is at least one more touchdown on the board for the road. This is what we've seen from him all year.
All year long. This is what it is. Fake to the fullback, draw those linebackers down inside, and then get right off the hip of that fullback, off that tackle spot, and get upfield with that speed, and that's what he's done all year long. What you just saw on that run is what he has done all year long to have this tremendous rushing record that he has in the state of Illinois with 3,700 yards and 53 touchdowns. Amazing. Let me say it again. 53 touchdowns he scored this year.
Vanderwild turns the corner and drives forward. .62 senior.
That's so hard to believe to say that number. When you said that initially, 53 touchdowns. That's an average of 4 touchdowns a game to go along with his 290 yards rushing.
Just the playoffs alone. Just the playoffs, 4 games coming into this one, 1,323 yards and 23 touchdowns in just the playoff games, just to get here, which is part of the reason why, for Prairie Ridge fans, they're going to feel so disappointed about how things turned out today. I mean, to put that in perspective, Jack, 1,323 yards in the playoffs. Terrion Martin came in for the whole season at 1,382. So that's a season's worth in 4 games.
And the other part of that is, when you look at the schedule, he didn't play the whole each game. No. In probably 3/4 of those games, he might have played a half or 3/4 to come up with those kind of numbers.
Clock winding. It's going to run the rest of the way here. The up back gets it. They're still running their stuff. Elijah loading.
And the reason you keep running your stuff is because this is who we are. This is our offense. This is what's gotten us here and what's been so successful for us over all these past years and all those other state championships. So all of a sudden you don't panic and go into the spread formation and start throwing it all over the ballpark. That's just not who they are. That's not how they got here. And you won't see them probably doing that next year or for years to come.
Vasey will throw. Pressure coming. Driven back and dropped. Naz Cobb, the sophomore reserve, with a sack. And that will bring up a change of possession, as that was 4th down. So they'll stop the clock for a timeout. East St. Louis dominance spreading to the other side of the ball. The defense coming up big on 4th down. Naz Cobb getting in the book for the sack. Timeout.
How do you predict the future? You create it. You build a foundation, pave a path forward, soak up the journey, and turn experiences into something life-changing. At Illinois State University, we deliver on what every college should promise you: the opportunity and tools to write your legacy every day. The rest is up to you. What will you create? Create your legacy at Illinois State University.
Black Friday is here at Menards, and we've got the perfect present for your loved ones. With something for Dad, Mom, and the kids. Everyone in the family will get what they want, even your furry friends. Enjoy the season and the savings. Deck out the tree and stuff your stockings with these great gifts at amazing prices. Hurry in and save big money. These deals won't last long. Doors open at 6 a.m. on Black Friday.
Save big money at Menards.
Time now for the Menards plays of the game. Save big money on all your home improvement needs. It's been all about East St. Louis and a lot of defensive plays. There's picks here, fumble recoveries there, and a lot of sacks.
We've seen kind of everything here in these first 3/4 of this ball game. But we've seen a lot of physical play by East St. Louis. I mean, they're a very aggressive hard-hitting football team.
You know, to see what we're looking at here gives credence to what Lamont did last week in getting a 2-touchdown lead early in that semifinal at Lamont High School. And we have a flag.
East St. Louis had to be in shock. But Lamont was undefeated going into that ball game.
5-yard penalty will remain.
And how they reacted to that just was a true testament to how good and what kind of toughness they have too.
I agree 100%. And the other part of it is a lot of people throughout the state will say, you know, East St. Louis has these records, but who do they play? They always say that. Who do they play? Well, when you get here, you can see right now they can play with anybody.
Down the sideline. Flyers are loose. They will take it to the house. Antoine Hayden with 69 yards. And it's a Delta Dental fourth quarter touchdown. You can trust the tooth to protect your smile. Learn more at deltadentalil.com. Well, everyone getting involved. Antoine Hayden is going to play defense for the Illini here. So it's nice to see him get an offensive touchdown because he may not have one at the next level.
That's a pretty good run right there. And you might say, well, Illinois might change their mind based on what they see right here.
How about the downfield block there? As you saw Marlon Jones clearing space down that sideline. 56-7 is our score. I think a lot of people thought this would be a one-sided game just from an analysis standpoint, but I don't think anyone had this on their mind.
Well, the only positive you could say is if you're playing East St. Louis next year sometime, they're going to lose those 5 starting linemen that they've had back for the last 3 years that average over 300 pounds.
The party for the East Side having a good time on the sideline. The Flyers this close to finishing it off in a dominant performance here in Champaign.
I couldn't ask for a better agent, for a better company in a disaster where you have no idea where to start.
I learned that there's not a given in life. It takes a team. There's people that are going to watch out for us and they care.
It's been pretty stressful. Once we saw Lori and got our plan, it's
like a huge weight lifted.
The IHSA Football State Championships are being brought to you in part by Country Financial, proud partner of the IHSA, and by LiUNA. Start your career in construction at liunacareers.org.
East St. Louis sideline having a good time, getting ready to celebrate the school's 10th state championship in school history. We're digging through the record books. We can't find anything with a 50-point margin of victory in quite some time, if at all, in the IHSA annals of history. A lot of 43-point margins or 42-0 shutouts. Closest thing we can see is that 1989 game with East St. Louis beating Thornton by 47 points, a 55-8 score. That one's going to roll at the perfect spot at the 3, forcing the Wolves to return it.
So this could possibly be another record of a different type.
If it stays this way, that's the largest margin of victory in any state championship game in at least 50 years.
Well, so that's a team record anyway, and we've had a lot of individual records set throughout the day at various classes. And yesterday, of course.
You don't see this very. You've seen running clocks before, but at the state championship level, but nothing like this. And Prairie Ridge, we know, a very good football team here.
But it's also a football team that gets behind and it's over. And I don't mean it to be that negative as it sounds, but they're not a throwing team.
At this point, Prairie Ridge standing at the line here, looking to call a timeout.
Yeah, coach is up at the top. I'll bet he's going to start substituting, possibly.
I think he wants to have Tyler Vasey come off, and he's going to with a standing ovation. That's what this is for. This is so that everyone on the Prairie Ridge sideline can give Tyler a standing ovation. And they all come to their feet. You see the embrace here. This is kind of like you see this in basketball, where they use the timeout so that they can get someone their standing ovation and their proper homage.
I don't know that everybody over there is completely understanding what Coach just did, which is a fantastic gesture. I don't think they all realize.
There's some applause in the stands, but not a whole lot. You're right. But you could tell that was something that was very important to the coaching staff, and kudos to them for doing that.
Well, that shows you what a class act that Coach Remp is in the Wolves of Prairie Ridge.
Students are chanting his name after one heck of a season to remember, in more than 3,800, almost 3,900 yards rushing, which will stand as an IHSA single season rushing record. But it was not to be today, as the more powerful Flyers ran over the Wolves in dominant fashion.
Well, you know, that's an amazing record to have that many yards rushing, but he only averaged that by carrying the ball 24 times a game for 290 yards. Now, we had, in the earlier game, we had, did he rush for 40 times? He rushed
45 times.
Right, and so imagine how effective that has been, that 24 carries a game for 290 yards to show how effective he is coming from the quarterback spot.
Ruiz they missed the handoff a little bit. And so loss on the play. East St. Louis, of course, they've won a lot of state championships. This is their 14th state finals appearance here at either Normal, Champaign, or DeKalb. And you think of all the years that Robert Shannon had like this. Darren Sunkett is okay with a little water.
Now he's getting
Miles
more
McVeigh's
than that.
adding a little water bottle, it's like condiments on top of that. A big smile on his face as he will win another state championship.
And you know, the reaction is last year. Basically, they were upset by Cary Grove. Not just upset emotionally because they lost. They were basically upset as far as going into that game as the favorite. And that what happened was, to many people, hard to believe that East St. Louis lost to Cary Grove. So this is kind of, you can see the excitement now coming back the following year and being able to rectify that issue.
Going into last year, they were 9-3 in title games. So they don't lose that often. And that loss was their first loss in a title game in 32 years. So fast forward to this year, clearly on a mission to make sure that did not happen again. And they did a wonderful job preparing for this offense of Prairie Ridge, similar to what Cary Grove does. And for Sunkett, he is closing in on win number 188. Why does that matter? Robert Shannon won 193 games. You don't think that matters to him? Maybe passing him, or at least, paying honor to him in doing so. Two of the greatest coaches that we've seen in Southern Illinois history.
Well, to give you an idea of what a program East St. Louis is, they've qualified for the playoffs 43 years. They've been in the state title game 13 times. They've won it 9, come in second 4 times. Prairie Ridge, on the other hand, has been in the playoffs 20 times, and they've won 3 titles and came in second once. So, I mean, both up-and-coming programs. Obviously, Prairie Ridge, when I mean by up-and-coming, but St. Louis is obviously well-established.
Our Country Financial Player of the Game. This is an easy one here. It's the very fascinating, balanced performance of Robert Battle, throwing and running for touchdowns. And you can find out why over 1 million families let us protect their lives and livelihoods by visiting countryfinancial.com for more information. Robert Battle showed a mixture of speed and strength with the arm, And accuracy, too. That was another thing that you noted earlier. He did not miss a throw. They were right on the money every time.
And his mechanics were outstanding. That's something that impressed me. It's the way he sat in the pocket. His mechanics were excellent. He put the ball right on the money on each and every throw.
Landon Miller will punt out of his own end zone. And they will pick it up and try and run somewhere with it. Nowhere to go. Let's send it downstairs to Darius.
There are several nicknames kind of on this East St. Louis team, but he's Robert Pops Battle is the only one who had his nickname actually listed on the roster. And I found out from his family in the crowd that it's after his great-great-grandfather. They also called him Pops, so they call the young junior Pops as well. And he certainly played like an elder statesman today, helping lead his team to a state championship here as well. So set it back up to you guys. About 3 minutes to go with East St. Louis up 57-7.
All right, Darius, thank you. Pops at the age of 17, Pops at the age of 27, 37. You know, it just rolls off the tongue.
It really does. You know, the other part of this is to think that he's coming back next year, and so is Martin. Martin's only a junior, or excuse me, Martin's actually a sophomore. He started last year as a freshman.
Between this year and last year's state championship team, Robert Battle has commanded 970 yards of total offense on the big stage.
And that's the big stage this year. Last year against Cary Grove was a different story. He had 1 rushing TD and 2 passing TDs, but he's got 4 TDs today. So that kind of gives you an idea of how he has matured in 1 year. Can you imagine what he's going to be like next year?
Fumble on that play. Prairie Ridge recovers. 2:19 and counting. Darren Sunkett winning championships in 2008, 2016, 2019, and adding one more today with a dominant effort and clear situation where everyone knew one snap count and the center knew a different one.
Dead ball. False start. Everybody but the center. 5-yard penalty. It will be first down.
It's always interesting to find out how teams do the following year after the great success they've had in the previous year. And it'll be interesting, for example, to see what East St. Louis does next year, because these last 2 years of success have been built on a young team. And I mean by that is, for example, that entire offensive line is seniors, and they're all leaving. But those kids started for 2 or 3 years, so they had some great experience coming into this. Now they're still a young team, but they're going to have to replace that offensive line, and everything starts, in my belief anyway, with the offensive line.
They'll churn them out, but it may take a while for them to gel and get back to the level that we're seeing right here. But you never know. It depends also on the schedule they have, of course. How much will they test themselves? None of that matters to these guys right now. They're just happy to celebrate and come home as state champions. Ruiz will take the handoff and give it to the up back. Maybe one more play. East St. Louis has been a dominant program for as long as anyone can remember. It was quiet for a while. Chris Shrimp knows how good this program is, and for him and his Wolves and those junior Wolves watching today, they know they'll be back at some point. But today was not their day. Today is a day that belonged to the East Side. And that will likely do it. The Metro East will celebrate, and that will be it. Flying around the field, East St. Louis is flying high tonight. A dominant effort in Champaign. State champions for the 10th time in school history. One of the dominant programs ever in Illinois. It was never close. 57 unanswered points in the largest margin of victory ever in a state championship game.
Well,
Darren
it's
Sunkett
disappointing.
has to be thrilled.
Oh, he has to be thrilled. It's disappointing, though, for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people to see this kind of a rout in a state championship game. They deserve better, but really, this is just an outstanding, as you mentioned several times, just an outstanding East St. Louis football team.
We'll take a timeout and come back for a quick post-game conversation and our celebration. East St. Louis state champions in 2022. We'll be back.
The IHSA Football State Championships are being brought to you in part by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs. And by ISU. Create your legacy at Illinois State University.
Black Friday is here at Menards, and we've got the perfect present for your loved ones. With something for Dad, Mom, and the kids. Everyone in the family will get what they want, even your furry friends. Enjoy the season and the savings. Deck out the tree and stuff your stockings with these great gifts at amazing prices. Hurry in and save big money. These deals won't last long. Doors open at 6 a.m. on Black Friday.
Save big money at Menards.
There are more than 20,000 ways to experience Illinois State.
Hey, what's up? You ready to go to class?
What kind of Redbird will you be? Hi. Create your legacy at Illinois State University.
Want a great career? Join the Carpenters Union and be part of the next generation building our communities. With the Carpenters Union Career Connections program, high school students get a head start on the industry's leading curriculum. Learn the latest in construction technology and the many skilled crafts the Carpenters Union represents. Plus, earn as you learn. Receive a nice paycheck, health insurance benefits, and best of all, no college debt. Ask your school district to participate in the Career Connections program and get started on your future.
From the days of the one-room schoolhouse, public schools have always been the heart of our community. It's where our students learn and are inspired to dream big, where we cheer on our teams under Friday night lights, and where parents, teachers, students, and loved ones come together as one. Now, more than ever, our public schools unite us. This message is brought to you by the Illinois Education Association, IEA, because we are stronger, united.
Another title for the East Side. East St. Louis state champions in 2022. Let's send it down to Darius Joshua.
Here with Ryan Martin, the MVP, if you will, the player of the game here for East St. Louis after they won the championship 57-3. 174 yards for you, 3 touchdowns, and a state championship. How does that feel?
Man, I'm just blessed to be here, man. Everything I ever worked for, last year left a bad taste in our mouths. I just knew I had to play for our seniors, play for my family, play for myself. I just didn't want to have that same feeling I had last year.
Obviously, they take the lead on you 7-0 there, but you guys rip off 57 straight points. Kind of what was the focus, the mindset of this team after you guys were able to kind of really just keep it going all day long?
Well, we knew we had to settle into their offense because we've never seen anything like it. So, we just had to give our defense time to adjust, and we trusted them and they trusted us, and, it shows on the scoreboard.
Two years for you in high school and 2 years in the state championship. Congratulations on winning the 6A state championship with the E.S.L Flyers. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you. Now we'll bring in the head coach of the East St. Louis Flyers, Darren Sunkett here. Your 4th overall championship, 10th overall for the program here at East St. Louis. I saw as the clock was winding down, you were hugging a lot of your players. They were dumping some water on you, getting to use a little ice. What does this feel like to bring home a championship this year?
Oh, man, it's a great feeling, I mean, these guys, they work their butts off all winter, all summer. And, to reap the benefits of this is just a very great feeling. I'm so proud of our seniors. They led us every step of the way. This is the first class since the 80s who went to state three straight years in a row. And these guys did a tremendous job for us.
Yeah, as you mentioned, 3 straight years in the state tournament, in the years that the tournament was held. After last year, coming up short with that 1-point loss to Cary Grove, how does this feel to have such a dominant win in this way and to bring home a state championship?
Oh, man, I say great. That loss sat on us, and we never, it was like we couldn't live it down, East St. Louis can't stop the option attack. East St. Louis can't stop option attack. So we wanted to come out here today and show that we could. We didn't make the right adjustments that we should have last year, but last year, is water under the bridge. So, like I said, this year, man, our guys done a great job, and I couldn't be more proud.
Congratulations, Coach Suggett, on the championship here with East St. Louis, beating Prairie Ridge 57-7 and bringing home the Class 6A championship. Thank you very much for the time. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. That is a 57-7 win for East St. Louis. Championship game. So back up to you guys in the booth.
All right, Darius, thank you very much as we watch East St. Louis celebrate and Prairie Ridge get their second place trophy. Jack, real quick, you can tell that we can't stop the option as a thought that's been on their mind for 12 months.
Absolutely. And, we talked about that, interestingly enough. Would they live off of that film from last year and figure out how they could do it? And obviously they certainly did figure out how to do it. A lot of credit has to go to East St. Louis for their game plan, but also a lot of credit to Prairie Ridge for a great season.
10 state championships as a program, and for Darren Sunkett, he wins his 188th game in his 20th season at East St. Louis. They continue to churn out Division I athletes all over the field and talented football players who can put it together that you saw here today in one cohesive fashion. And they got shirts, Jack. They've got T-shirts. They had the T-shirts ready to go for the state championship. That shows you the swagger of Eastside. They were ready for it. Let's go to the.
Pretty confident, isn't it?
You love the confidence. All gas, no brakes. It's on the shirt. Now to the public address system and Jeff Fritzen for the trophy presentation.
Medallions are being presented to Superintendent Arthur Culver, Principal Alonzo Nelson, Athletic Director and Head Coach Darren Sunkett, and the Flyers captains. And now the presentation of the championship trophy to the East St. Louis Flyers, who finished the season with a final record of 12 wins and 2 losses. Congratulations to the Flyers of East St. Louis.
You think of all the schools that have won double-digit numbers of state championships, whether it's the Mount Carmels, the Joliet Catholics, the Providences. There is hardly any public school in the state of Illinois that has been as dominant as East St. Louis has been for the last 40 years, and it's title number 10 for the East Side. Your final thoughts, Jack?
Well, obviously it was a game of dominance by East St. Louis from, I don't want to say start to finish, because on the first drive, the Wolves from Prairie Ridge looked awful good, but then after that, it was East St. Louis for the rest of the ball game, and every aspect of their offense gelled. Their passing game, their running game, their special teams, and they played great defense.
Jack, it's been fun. We got 2 more great games coming up here with Mount Carmel and Batavia for our Class 7A state championship, and 8A with Lincoln Way East and Loyola. But East St. Louis celebrating their 10th state championship in school history. For Jack McInerney and our entire crew, my name is Matt Rodewald saying so long for our 6A broadcast. The 7A crew, shift change coming up. More state title action here on the IHSA State Television Network.